and welcome back to our podcast. I'm the Disturbed Southern Belle.
And I'm the gentleman.
We're going to be talking on this episode about some disturbing Australia folklore, also some different haunted places and things like that, urban legends. Some of the more famous ones. There's, of course, tons. It would take a very long time to cover them all, but we're going to hit some of the high points. So the first one that we're going to talk about that is kind of creepy is the Luna Park Ghost Train Fire. So on June 9th, 1979, a fire happened on Luna Park's Ghost Train ride. And it was thought to be caused by an electrical fault. And it claimed the life of 7 people. 3 of the victims were Damien Godson and his 4-year-old brother and father. Now, what makes this creepy is there was an eerie foreshadowing that took place before the family boarded the ride. The family had been waiting for a ferry from Circular Quay to Sydney's Luna Park, and while they were waiting, they were approached by a man that was dressed in this demonic-looking costume. And there's an actual picture, and it is pretty creepy looking. He had on just a loincloth, a mask, and this horned headdress. And he supposedly came up to 6-year-old Damien and placed his hand on his shoulder, and a photo was taken. And you can see this photo. And to this day, no one can identify the man or knows why he was dressed in such a manner. However, some people believe that the costume resembled the god Moloch, who was said to ask for children to be sacrificed to him through fire or war, and some others think he may be linked to a local satanic cult. But either way, it's kind of creepy, and it's kind of weird that it happened just very shortly before that fire. And if he was actually dressed as Moloch, and, he's supposed to have, children sacrificed to him through fire, that is really creepy to think about. I have saw the picture. The picture is really creepy, and why this guy was dressed like this, I have no clue. Nobody else knows. He was pretty much, his whole upper body's uncovered, and he was basically just wearing like a loincloth and this weird, demonic-looking horned headdress. It's really creepy. The next one we're going to talk about is the Picton Tunnels. And the most famous of these tunnels is named the Mushroom Tunnel. And it was the first railway that was used by the NSW Railways, and during World War II, the tunnel was also used to store weapons and ammo. It's also known to be a hot spot for paranormal activity. So, over the years, it's seen its share of people unaliving themselves, so to speak, murder, accidental deaths, and those that have been brave enough to enter the tunnels have reported seeing like strange lights, feeling cold spots, hearing strange voices, seeing dark figures. And there's also a mysterious lady in white, and she's said to roam the tunnel, and if you happen upon her, she instills fear into anyone who just sees her. You just get instantly terrified.
What is it with the ladies in white?
I don't know, but there's a lot of them. There's a lot of ladies.
It's not just the
and blue
UK.
Ladies.
It's not just the UK or Australia. I've heard of the lady in white from countless other countries.
I know. I don't know.
There's always a version of the lady in white or the white lady.
Exactly. Why? I don't know. No idea. I don't know if maybe it's supposed to be like the ghostly apparition, and maybe they just appear like white glow, and maybe they just call it, maybe that's where it all comes from. I have no idea, but you're correct. The lady in white or white lady or even blue ladies, that's something that is known in a lot of countries. So the next one we're going to talk about is basically kind of an urban legend, and it's the Crown Casino morgue. So, despite repeated denials by the casino denying that it exists, rumors still persist that Melbourne's Crown Casino has its own morgue. It's said to be used for elderly visitors that might, pass away while visiting the casino, or those who may have decided to end their lives, maybe after losing too much at gambling within the establishment.
In all honesty, it's probably not a bad idea to have a morgue for those instances.
And according to legends, there's supposed to be several secret passages throughout the casino and hotel which would allow for the deceased to be moved discreetly away from prying eyes. Now, the casino adamantly denies this. They say that it doesn't exist, but there's still a lot of people who say that it does, so I don't know. Kind of makes you wonder if a lot of people are thinking it. Maybe somebody who worked there knows something and said something. I don't know.
Maybe.
Who knows?
But if it's a legal thing that they have put there, why deny it?
I don't know. Maybe they just don't want people. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's some back end stuff going on. Maybe they're killing people or something. If they all, I mean, who knows? Who knows? I mean, I don't know. And of course, then again, it just could be something that somebody just made up totally. Who knows? You know, it's one of those things.
Any of these are very valid theories.
Right. I mean, who knows? But they deny it, and people still persist, and there's rumors and everything. They say it is there. The next one we're going to talk about is the Wakehurst Parkway. And it's a stretch of highway spanning from Narrabeen and Sydney's northern beaches. And the stretch of road is well known for its extensive paranormal activity. There have been numerous wrecks and vehicular deaths along the road, and some reports that people have even said they saw strange humanoids on the roadside. Now, I don't know what this humanoid thing is supposed to look like. I'm assuming
Little Green Man?
Maybe. I don't know. They just say humanoid, so it kind of looks like a human, I guess. But I mean,
honestly, that's just what my mind immediately goes to when I hear the phrase strange humanoid
figure. It could be. Maybe they've seen aliens. Who knows? I mean, they're supposed to be everywhere. They're among us. I don't know. The most unsettling urban legend is the story of Kelly. Now, she's supposed to appear as a young girl who either stands in the middle of the road or she appears in the backseat of cars. And if she appears in your car and you don't demand that she leaves, the car will soon crash and normally the driver will perish.
That's another strangely common thing.
Yeah.
I've heard a few stories like that.
Right. Now, most of the ones I've heard that necessarily said that you had to make them leave. You know, a lot of times they would be like going over bridges, and there'd be like a wet spot where they were sitting, you know, things like that. But this one, you're supposed to tell her...
Like a certain local bridge.
You're supposed to tell her to leave the car, and if you don't, well, you're going to regret it, basically. It's also been associated with several gruesome crimes, one of which happened in 1994 when 34-year-old Stephen Dempsey was shot in the heart with a crossbow at Deep Creek Reserve on the Wakehurst Parkway. Yep. And his killer dumped his body in the creek there, but later returned to dismember it and then put it in a freezer. So... I
mean, a crossbow is a good idea, but Jesus Christ.
I know.
That's a bit overkill.
Right. Another one that was reported here was a body was found on the parkway, and it happened a year later in 1995 when the body of 21-year-old Frances Tizone was found just a few feet from the Wakehurst Parkway in French's Forest, and her body had been dumped by her ex-boyfriend after he'd strangled her to death. So this is a kind of a creepy road. So I could see if, you know, all this stuff's happening, a lot of wrecks and deaths.
I could see some ghost stories being created.
And it's very creepy to think about, especially if you're driving on it at night. I would say, yeah, I wouldn't want to, but I'm sure plenty of people do. So the next one we're going to talk about is the Airedale Mental Asylum. And this asylum is located in regional Victoria, and it was built in 1865. And like most people know, that's a time where very little was known about mental health and disorders, and people, you know, were not treated very well if they thought to be crazy, basically. You didn't even have to be crazy. Yeah. But, you know.
You just had to have someone say that they thought you were crazy.
Exactly. And that happened all over the world. That's not just Australia. This is, you know, those asylums back then were nothing to joke around about.
They were cruel.
They were very cruel. So within the asylum walls, patients were subjected to lobotomies, which, if you don't know what that is basically a type of brain surgery that involves severing the connection between the frontal lobe and other parts of the brain. So
typically via drill.
It can be a little pick thing. I mean, there's different ways they did it, and it's, you know, not a good thing. And people who had it done, usually their entire personality changes. They're just kind of not there anymore. You can tell a huge difference. It's really kind of sad. And of course, patients were also subjected to electroshock therapy. And these practices resulted in over 13,000 deaths on the premises. So that's
not surprising.
A lot of people died here, and probably died suffering.
Especially back then, them trying to do lobotomies would have to account for a massive portion of that.
I'm sure. I mean, it could cause bleedings in the brain. I mean, all kinds of stuff could happen. I mean, even electroshock, if you didn't do it properly or gave too much of a jolt to someone, I mean, or even someone who had a weak heart or, you know, something else going on, some sort of medical condition, it could, you know, cause their death. And I mean, that is really sad when you think over 13,000 people died, and they probably died very sadly. Now, one of the most widely recognized ghosts that is seen at the asylum is that of Nurse Carrie. and she's believed to haunt and walk the woman's ward, and many people have reported hearing her voice or the clicking of her heels as she's walking down the hallway. She isn't the only reported ghost that's been spotted, of course. I mean, there's also been reports of people seeing shadow people in the halls, which, that's common in a lot of these, if you saw ghosts.
That's just
different
common
paranormal
in, like,
stories and
hospitals,
things like that.
asylums, schools, and stuff.
And people have even said that they've been scratched, bitten, or even pushed by unseen forces.
Again, very common.
So, yeah, that's very creepy. And I imagine this would be a very creepy place to be within. And I definitely wouldn't want to be in there at night. I wouldn't want to go to it at all myself.
I just hate the idea of being in an asylum.
Right. Considering what happened there, I mean, it's just...
The amount of negative energies in that place would have to create something.
You would think so.
At the very least, just a weird aura around the place.
I would think so, because, I mean, it would be a very sad place. Just all the suffering that took place there. So, the next one is the Adelaide Arcade. And it's one of the oldest shopping arcades in Australia, and it opened in the mid-1800s. And the most famous ghost seen here is the former caretaker, Francis Clooney. His mangled body was found in the machinery that powered the arcade's lighting. And it's said his death was accidental, but some think it might have been murder. And his ghost is still said to haunt the location to this day. And
I'm sorry, how do you get your body mangled in the machinery for the lighting? How does that work?
I don't know if it was maybe something like maybe the lights were something that maybe could be lifted up and down. I don't know exactly how they work.
It's hard to imagine without seeing the machinery itself.
But, yeah, that doesn't sound like it would be a great way to die. And, I mean, whether or not it was murder, no one knows. Some people think it might have been. Now, somebody could have, definitely, maybe somebody killed him and just put him in that machinery. Who knows? I mean, you never know what might have happened. And if it happened, a long time ago, there wasn't a lot. Pretty much, they didn't just catch you in the act. You weren't getting caught. So, next is the Young and Jackson Hotel, and it's in Melbourne. And it opened as well in the mid-1800s. And there have been numerous people who have reported seeing a woman standing against a light post near the hotel. And then when you first see her, she's supposed to just look like this beautiful woman that's standing there. But as you get closer, you see that her throat's been slashed from ear to ear.
Jesus.
And nothing's known of the ghost. Nobody knows who she is, but some think she might have been the spirit of a murdered lady of the evening, so to speak, that used to work in the area. And that's sad, too, that she's still hanging out there. If she was, that happened to her now. Whether or not that's what she was, who knows? It could have just been a woman in, general, and this is what they think because she's standing under that light post or whatever. But that'd be freaky to see a woman and then get close and see the throat.
Yeah,
that'd be horribly creepy.
It very much would be.
So another one that a lot of people probably heard of is called Kapunda. And it's located approximately an hour outside of Adelaide, and it's considered to be one of the most haunted towns in Australia. The town itself is considered pretty spooky. However, the North Kapunda Hotel located there has a reputation for being one of the scariest places in town. Now, I've actually saw a documentary on this, and it does have a lot of real creepy stuff going on. It boasts a bunch of ghosts. There's people that say they see the spirits of two little girls, and some people say they see this malevolent entity that's shrouded in black. Most people report seeing one of the little girls in different parts of the hotel and ground, but the other one is said to always remain in the upstairs area of the hotel to avoid the evil spirit that's shrouded in black. The evil spirit is known as the Man in Black. And he's said to be dressed entirely in black, and he has like a wide brim hat. And he's said to terrify the female ghosts in the hotel, and that he's known to attack the hotel's female visitors. So I don't guess I'm going to this hotel because I don't really want to be attacked by the Man in Black. Another spirit said to roam the hotel is that of Dr. Blood, and he's thought to have, that's actually his name, Dr. Blood. And he is said to have performed some like shocking experiments on humans. And, he's also said that maybe he's the Man in Black too. Who knows? I don't know, but I don't know. I don't think I want to go to this hotel. It sounds pretty creepy. It's got a lot going on. And, I mean, I've never heard of other ghosts being necessarily scared of another spirit. So that kind of makes you wonder, is it demonic or something? That makes you think it's not like just a spirit. something else going on if the other ghosts are literally terrified of it. And it's only the female ghosts. So apparently he's got a thing, he doesn't like females, and he'll even attack the hotel's female guests. So, yeah, I'm going to stay away from it. The next one is the Princess Theatre, and it's located in Melbourne as well. And the ghost of Frederick Federici haunts this theater. He was supposed to have died during a performance in the 1800s, and there's even been some famous actors, they said, that have actually saw him, and some visitors have reported feeling his touch. So
that's not weird at all.
No, and that's kind of creepy too, because I mean, you're going to the theater to watch a performance, and you got to worry about a ghost, I don't know, feeling you up during the show, I guess. I'm not sure. Feeling his touch, I'm not sure where he's touching you, or who he's touching. I don't know, maybe he's just touching on the shoulder. It doesn't say. But, you know, that's kind of nuts, too. And I'm not exactly sure how he died. He just said he died during a performance. So I'm not sure if, you know, something happened during the performance, like something maybe fell on him, or he just, you know, had a heart attack. I don't know. But that's kind of creepy and kind of sad, I guess, too, that he's still there to this day. The next one is the Monte Cristo Homestead. And this Victorian manor house has been the site of several gruesome events, including the death of a stable boy in a fire and the death of a maid who fell from a balcony. People still to this day say that you can see the maid standing on the balcony and the stable boy haunting the grounds. And one visitor even reported being awakened in the middle of the night to see a family of 3 staring at her. Now, I don't know who these people were supposed to be. No one else has said that, it's just her, but I don't know where they came from, but
that's just very creepy.
It is very creepy.
That's like one of the few things that would actually send chills down my spine.
Yeah, I mean,
you're just laying there, and the thought, like you're imagining, just multiple people just staring at you from the darkness,
right?
And you can't see them,
right? I mean, that would be something really weird to wake up to see. Period. Seeing people just staring at you, some creepy, and especially like they disappear. Oh God, I wouldn't want to see it, but yeah, that's another really out there nutty one. Another mental hospital that's located in Melbourne is the Laurendale Mental Hospital, and it has a pretty dark history filled with supernatural activity. One of the most notable stories is that of a young girl that was said to be kept at the asylum, and it said that all she owned was a music box, and many visitors have reported hearing the sound of the music box echoing down the now ruined halls. So that's kind of sad too. I mean, it's sad that that's all she owned and that she's still haunting there, and probably she didn't die a good death either. She was kept in an asylum. So I don't know. All the asylum ones to me are kind of sad in a way because, like I said, so much, they were treated horribly. They did experiments on people. I mean, it was awful. It was terrible. The next is Port Arthur, and this is in Tasmania. And it's one of the oldest ports in Australia and was also one of the original penal colonies, which is, meaning it is very old. And it has a reputation for being haunted. Now, this one is actually kind of sad, too. One of the most famous spirits here is the Blue Lady. And she's said to be a woman that lost her child during childbirth, and she now haunts the port in constant search for her lost child.
Not too dissimilar from La Llorona.
Right. It's similar to, you know...
Except she actually killed her own children.
Right. And this one, you know, I'm sure it probably happened a lot during that time, but it's very sad to think about, you know... I don't know. It just seems like torture. Even after you're dead, you still don't get peace. It's kind of sad. The last one is the Richmond Bridge, and it's also located in Tasmania. And it's also the oldest bridge in Australia. And it's also known as Australia's most haunted bridge. The most famous ghost is that of a man named George Grover. And it's said that he was murdered while overseeing repairs on the bridge. And several people have reported seeing his ghost and that he's stalking them, like he's coming after them, you know, and stuff. And many describe feeling an overwhelming sense of aggression coming from his spirit. So, why he's so mad, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's just mad because, I mean, it's not funny. I don't know if he's mad because he's dead. I don't know if he's mad because these people are there. I don't know. Maybe he's looking for his killer. I don't know. But apparently he will stalk you, and you can just feel the aggression coming off the spirit. That's very creepy, too. I definitely would not want to happen upon old George if that's the way he feels, because that makes you think he's going to attack you. Maybe he would if he got a hold of you. I don't know.
Possibly.
It's kind of creepy, and it's very nuts. So that's going to finish us up for the some of the folklore and haunted places. We're going to pick up next week with the gentleman, and we'll let him tell you what he's going to be covering.
So I'm basically going to be doing the same thing as I did last episode that I hosted. I'm going to be just talking about the different cryptids of Australia.
And there's a bunch.
There are a lot.
There are a lot. And there's actually some really cool ones. I read up on some myself.
Yeah, there's a few that I really want to cover that I actually know of, that I am very interested in and have been for a very long time.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely some very interesting ones. So we definitely invite you to join us for that. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. And don't forget to stay disturbed.